few days ago, it was confirmed that Karina, popular idol in girl group aespa, had been romantically involved with actor Lee Jae-wook, and I believe his company came out to confirm this. The initial reaction that I saw online was one of surprise, but actually pretty positive compared to some previous dating scandals that I have witnessed. However, there was still a very large group of fans who were not happy about the situation. Fans ended up sending protest trucks to her agency. A subsect of fans had felt betrayed by her actions. How could you do this for all that we've done for you? The backlash became so bad that Karina had to come out with a public apology, apologizing for her decision to become romantically involved with someone that she was interested in. Yes, Karina apologized for being interested in another person. However, this whole dating scandal broke outside of the K-pop sphere and has now been picked up by Western news outlets. I know Zach Sang talked about it on his show, so this has definitely breached the little bubble that K-pop seems to find its in online discourse at times. A lot of Western news outlets were surprised by this whole thing because I think some people, specifically over here in the United States, are not used to how dating is handled in K-pop compared to Western pop. I am glad that this whole situation kind of broke out of the K-pop industry and spread into Western news tabloids, not necessarily because of very clickbait things that those tabloids can say, but because people are starting to recognize internationally how toxic the dating culture in K-pop is and how it is handled by companies. It should also serve as a serious reality check for some of these K-pop fandoms and how they act online towards the idols that they so claim to love. The reason Karina received hate for dating this actor is because so many people have tied an unhealthy parasocial relationship to her in which she doesn't even know that specific individual or that fan online. This Karina dating scandal is showing exactly how parasocial relationships exist in the K-pop community, and that's being broadcasted on an international scale. Don't get me wrong, I think plenty of people, specifically over here in the US, have seen how parasocial relationships can work when it comes to fandom culture, specifically when BTS started to promote a lot over here. I do believe a lot of Western tabloids misrepresented what BTS's fandom can be like and the people who listen to BTS and consume BTS. In this generation, boy group and girl group culture in the United States is looked down upon for having rabid fandoms that are just full of crazy teenagers when that's just not the case. But I think this Karina situation and it reaching Western tabloids over here shows people how bad parasocial relationships can get and the effects that that has on certain individuals. Parasocial relationships are an integral part of the K-pop industry and how it operates. Like K-pop literally makes money through you having a parasocial relationship with its idols, right? Fan meets, high touch events. They literally make photo cards and put them in albums. Like these are just pictures of the individual and we collect them like they're trading cards. The industry is mainly visual and the community eats it up. It's why all these different variety shows exist and vlog content exists because the industry really wants you to create this fake relationship with an idol through a phone screen or a computer screen. To some people, these idols can reflect a part of themselves, and when their favorite idols are winning, when they are successful, they feel like they are also successful. This is why we see a lot of people like bulk buy albums and throw them away because they want to see their faves boost up the chart because if their faves are number one, then they are number one. It's also very concerning how some fans really dig into the past of some of these idols and then use that to make judgments on who the idol is as a person. For example, I saw some fans dig into the past of Karina and find some instances where she interacted with women. And I went onto TikTok to see someone write a literal Google Doc about how they thought that Karina was a lesbian and she had to be a lesbian because look at all of these facts, which were just really minute situations, like when Karina stayed to watch a bunch of female performers and then she left when the male performer came out, so therefore she must be a lesbian. It was just a bunch of like really odd examples. And when she came out being interested in a guy, it ruined this fantasy for them. Like, oh, I thought she had to be a lesbian. And I know some people joke about that, but I don't necessarily think it's okay to joke or dig into someone's sexuality when they haven't publicly said it themselves. Like, there's no point in it. Karina can still very much be interested in women. Just because she's interested in a guy doesn't mean she can't be interested in women. Like, she can be bisexual. I don't know. It's also not my place to dig into that. But I saw a lot of these people who were digging into her sexuality become very angry and upset when she came out as dating a man and started throwing insults his way, calling him ugly. You know Karina with what you've seen on screen, and maybe to a fan meet you've been and you talked to her for 5 seconds. You know who Karina is on screen as a character. You don't really know who she is behind the scenes. That's why I'm not really surprised when an idol comes out to be a really nice individual or an asshole, because I don't know them. Like, I don't know these people. I don't know a lot of their interests or who they really like or etc. Because, like, we see what's presented to us. We see the filtered version of these people. The videos that the company chooses to post. You watch a behind the scenes clip or a variety show and you think you know these people like they're your best friend. No, no, you don't. You live 3,000 miles away from this person. Some K-pop stans see idols as obtainable objects. What happens when you take an obtainable object in their eyes off of the table? For some of these K-pop stans, they react in pure anger and sadness. By Karina being interested in another man, to these individuals, she is now no longer obtainable to them, and now they are angry about it. It is childish to say the least and incredibly objectifying to these real individuals. And if you genuinely felt anger when you found out that Karina was interested in another person romantically, you need to reevaluate some things. You need to take a step back from K-pop and destroy that parasocial relationship before it gets any worse. Because I've seen what really, really bad parasocial relationships can do to some people, and it is not pretty. Some of these fans treat K-pop in the industry like a video game because the industry promotes a lot of their idols like they are in a video game, right? Going back to selling photo cards, standees of these people, right? And I'm not saying that the personality that these idols display on camera is always fake, because they can display real sides of how they act behind the scenes, but you're not getting the full authentic version of Chaewon from Le Sserafim on camera or how she acts. And quite frankly, you don't need to know. We don't need to know who Karina's interested in. That's her business. Her sexuality is her business. And if they come out public about it, congrats to them. I was nothing but happy for her. I'm glad she's interested in someone else and she's expressing that. But for some stans, they just can't handle it. And I can't possibly imagine how that feels, because I'm not like that. The issue is that Western tabloids are going to pick this situation up, and it's going to create harmful stereotypes about how the industry operates. And unfortunately, some of those stereotypes are actually going to be true, right? The idol industry treats dating scandals terribly and promotes a very unhealthy dating culture. So a lot of the stereotypes that people are going to form off of what they see are going to be correct in a way. And I hope that this situation, Karina literally apologizing to her fans for this, being labeled as an embarrassment online, wakes some of these companies up and helps A, protect their idols when they get into dating scandals like this, and B, makes them realize, hey, these people are individuals that are allowed to be interested in other individuals, and we should allow them to live their life like normal human beings. But I know that's not going to happen because, again, the idol industry and companies profit off of their idols being seen as obtainable to these fans. Even though that's A, very objectifying, and B, in the background, most of these idols are probably dating individuals and we just don't know about it. Karina is not your pet, she's not your toy, she's not your object, and if you are at all upset about her being interested in another individual, like I said a few minutes ago, you have some serious self-reflecting to do. Like I touched on earlier, in a way, I'm glad this kind of blew up to the international scale so people can really start to understand how bad these parasocial relationships can get in K-pop, and now I hope that puts a little bit of pressure on these companies to make some serious changes to how they handle dating situations and how the companies treat these idols like they're obtainable objects for these fans. And I really hope there's some sort of reform in how idols' dating lives are treated, especially by the public. Stereotypes about K-pop fans being obsessed individuals will always exist as long as we keep doing this shit. As long as we keep sending protest trucks to agencies voicing our apparent displeasure that Karina is interested in another person. Because guess what? In that situation, you are living up to that stereotype. This whole situation is a much needed wake up call that is going to fall on deaf ears. Companies are not going to change how they handle relationships, how they promote these idols, and fans are never going to stop forming parasocial relationships because it's just human nature. And the individuals that get caught in the crossfire are the idols. They are the victims in this situation. To go along with the hate that Karina's gotten, she's also gotten a ton of support. Again, when this first dropped, there was a surprisingly positive reception to it that grew more sour over time once people were more vocal about it. And then, of course, people started criticizing fans who were sending over protest trucks, and it became, a fandom versus fandom thing. And as a K-pop stan, I sit back and I ask myself, is this really the industry that I'm a fan of? Am I subtly partaking in these parasocial relationship culture? It's just a whole mess, and I don't have all the answers for it. But what I do know is that it is embarrassing for a lot of people. And if you are angry at her being interested in another person sending protest trucks, you're embarrassing. Like you just are. With this situation reaching Western tabloids, this is the time for some specific stands to really self reflect, but I know for a fact they won't. They'll continue to partake in this toxic culture, and I can't really change that, right? I'm one individual. I can use my voice on here, but man, this situation is really messy, and I feel really bad for her. And with that, I would like to hear your opinions down below. Do you agree or disagree with me? Um, yeah, this is the first video back on the channel in quite some time. Took a break for some personal reasons, but I am back making videos. So I figured I would dive back in a pretty short form, easy edited, nothing too fancy here. Again, I'm working on the NMIX video I revealed that I was working on last week. That should be out by the end of March, so hopefully you guys look forward to that. And with that being said, I hope you have a good day. Please do not form strong parasocial relationships. They are never a good thing, really. And I hope to see you guys in that next video.